Assalamualaikum and hi. We are from KMA1 who would like to present about our Syariah audit program with our product Property Financing I under tawarruq concept of Bank Muamalat.
Bank Muamalat is a prominent Islamic bank was founded on October 1, 1999. Bank Muamalat is governed by the Islamic Financial Services Act 2013 IFSA. The bank serves both individuals and institutions by providing a wide range of services as full-fledged Islamic financial institution. Bank Muamalat offers people services like bank account, asset management, finance for things like as well as wealth management. The bank provides business and institutional clients with the entire range of services that a top corporate and investment bank, including cash management, payment options, including trade and export financing, and etc. Next is product and contract. The product is Property Financing I and the contract is tawarruq. So, the purpose of the Property Financing I tawarruq is to make it easier for the customer to purchase finished or unfinished residential property or shop houses. The property being financed will be pledged as a security for the financing, and the financing of this facility will be computed based on a variable or fixed rate as established by the bank from time to time. So, the Syariah contract that applicable for property financing as is tawarruq, which is content of murabaha, wakalah, and wal mulzim, which is a binding promise. Tawarruq, as we all know, consists of two contracts for sales and purchases. In the first, an asset is sold on a deferred basis by a seller to a buyer. The first sales buyer will sell the same asset to a third party for cash and spot. Each sale that purchase agreement in a tawarruq is legally binding and cannot be ended by either party without the consent of the other. In accordance with the tawarruq arrangement, the customer submit an application for financing from the bank by making a legally binding promise, wad mulzim, for an asset requisition to purchase the Syariah compliant commodities from the bank at a selling price. The tawarruq transaction in property financing I must be completed before the consumer is given their financing amount. However, as stated in the term and conditions, the customer has the right to explicitly request that the bank take delivery of the purchased commodity before selling it to the third party. All fees and expenditures related to the delivery of the good and subsequent transfer of ownership shall be wholly borne by the customer. As a result, a customer will not receive the facility amount.
Okay, next, I will continue the modus operandi under tawarruq concept of Bank Muamalat. Firstly, customer applies for financing from the bank. In short, the customers appoint Islamic financial institution as agent and give the deposit money to purchase the commodity from the bank at selling price, which is 100,000, and the price should be paid on a deferred basis. Secondly, Islamic financial institution or bank as agent will purchase the commodity from supplier A at the purchase price. Thirdly, Islamic financial institution or bank receive the commodity. Fourthly, Islamic financial institution or bank sell the commodity to the customers at an agreed selling price of 120,000, which are 100,000 as a cost plus profit 20,000. And this purchase and sale of the commodity is done on the basis of murabaha. Fifthly, the customer shall subsequently sell the commodity back through the bank as their agent to supplier B on a cash basis, and the cash shall be treated as a provision of financing to the customers. 6. Islamic financial institution sell the commodity to supply B on the spot at a selling price of 100,000. And last but not least, Islamic financial institution receive the cash on behalf of a customers of 100,000 required for the financing.
Okay, next we go through about the Syariah audit program SAP for property financing I tawarruq that offered by Bank Muamalat. Okay, so firstly we go through about audit of the commodity. So for the commodity, the source of document is certificate of commodity, and the audit objective is to determine the existence of the commodity items. Second, to determine the quality of commodity suit with the selling price. And third, to guarantee the commodity exchange is qualified as the subject matter of tawarruq. So for the audit procedure, The auditor must be check and review the actual commodity value and availability in market. Second, to check the ownership certificate of the commodity. Third, make sure the commodity traded are not gold, silver, or correct currency. And also, it is asset which are debt in nature. This is stated by tawarruq parameter by BNM. So for the level, there are three level of risk, which is minor risk, moderate risk, and major risk. For the minor risk, which is might be lack information and misunderstanding about the commodity. The moderate risk is the type of commodity might be not the Sharia compliant. Major risk is a wrong calculation of commodity price. Okay, next we go through about audit about ta'wid. So for the document of source, we go through about the sales and purchase contract on ta'wid. And for the audit objective, firstly, to ensure the ta'wid percentage state clear in the agreement, and then to ensure the internal control system of Islamic financial institutions are followed. For the audit procedure, firstly, auditor must check the value of ta'wid charge. Second, review the actual loss suffered by the seller. And third, make sure the ta'wid charge will be channeled to Baitumal and charitable bodies by the tawarruq parameter by BNM. Okay, for the level, in the level of the minor risk, customer will be misunderstanding on ta'wid procedure. For the moderate risk, will be failed to get response from customer on payment area. And for the major risk, wrong calculation on loss suffered.
Next, for the Sharia audit program for property financing tawarruq in the scope of cost and prices. There are three audit objectives for this term, which are firstly to ensure that the selling prices in the tawarruq should consist of the acquisition cost of the asset and the profit. Secondly, to determine that the acquisition costs above are based on the quarter price in specified available market price. And thirdly, to determine the cost should be approved internal policies and procedures that govern by the tawarruq. For the audit procedure, firstly, the IFI may identify other costs relating to the sale and purchase of the asset that will be borne by the customer and the bank. Secondly, make sure that the cost may include the brokerage fee and have wakala, which is agency. And thirdly, the IFI should specify the absolute value of the selling price in the legal documentation. For this term, there are three level risks, which are minor risk, moderate risk, and major risk. For the minor risk, in this scope, the higher prices will make customers misunderstand. Moderate risk, the lack of information on prices details. And for the major risk, the cost that is displayed does not adhere to the described guidelines.
Okay, next I will explain about source of document sales and purchase contract on IBRA or rebates. The audit objective firstly is to determine the applicability of rebates in event of prepayments or early settlements of selling price or invariable rate pricing. Secondly, is to determine the amount of outstanding debt arising from the deferred sale and purchase contract under the tawarruq. The audit process is shall calculate the outstanding selling price less any rebate. Second, it shall comply with the guidelines on IBRA or rebate for sale-based financing. Last, the level of minor risk is lack of information about rebate calculation. Moderate risk is calculation not according to the provided formula. And the major risk, the occurrence of losses due to incorrect calculations. Source of document risk management. The audit objective is to identify and monitor risks, including the risk that inventory may be exposed to arising from the acquisition and holding of assets. Secondly, is to establish risk exposure limits, including trading or concentration limits on approved assets, asset dealers, and or asset exchange. The audit procedure are identifying and analyze risk management used by IFI. Should clearly specify and communicate the policies and procedures and limits to all relevant functions based on IFI.
For the level of minor risk is leak information about risk management. Moderate risk, not following the established risk management rules. Major risk, there are no procedures on risk management and risk control.
Next, Syariah Audit Program for the Property Financing tawarruq in the terms of contract parties involved. There are two audit objectives in this term, which are firstly to ensure that all the parties understand and follow the specific guideline. Secondly, to determine how those contracts are implemented or carried out in the product. For the procedure, there are three, which are firstly, we need to review the contract accessibility. Secondly, the IFE should specify the roles and responsibility of the contract parties. And thirdly, to ensure that all the parties involved fulfilling their obligation under the agreement. In this also have three levels of the risk. Firstly, minor risk. For the minor risk, this is about disagreement and conflict between the parties. Secondly, the moderate risk. The party do not follow the guideline that have been set. And thirdly, the major risk, which is ambiguity between the parties involved.
That's all from us. Thank you.